Hey everyone, my name is Sean Rowland. I run the website stadiumandarenavisits.com, and in addition to traveling around to different stadiums and seeing the culture of sports teams around the United States, I also love college sports, but I hate what's happened to college conferences, especially because we've gotten away from what college conferences used to be, and that was a grouping of similar schools in a similar region, and pretty much having them in a league to play. And I really miss the rivalries that come with it, and the fact that um, a lot of teams and fans can't really travel all that well to local games within a conference. So I kind of set out with my love of college sports to make colleges or conferences that make sense. And I did this a few years ago with FBS, and I figure I'd give it a shot here with the rest of college sports. So all 360 plus Division One teams. And it's mostly focused on college basketball, but it certainly applies to other sports, especially college baseball. And in a few seconds here, I'll kind of unveil every single conference. So if you want to hit pause and take a look at each one, go for it. And then we'll break down each conference as to the whys as why those conference teams are in there. So real quick, with college basketball, overall there's 37 conferences. The goal is to have 10 teams per conference, and the main reason for that is you can have a true round robin schedule with college basketball. So with 10 teams, you play 9 games home and away against each one, so true round robin schedule. And then after that, you do a conference tournament. No more ridiculous step ladders like the crazy Sun Belt or other places. 8 teams, single elimination. So regular season also means a little bit for not just seeding, but the bottom teams to make it into the conference tournament. And then all 37 conference winners make it to the NCAA tournament. And from there, you expand the field a little bit to 72 teams. So you have 37 conference winners, 35 at-large teams, and then you make the lowest ranked at-large teams play in a first round Tuesday and Wednesday. I hate the term bid thief. There is no bid thief. If you win your conference, you are in the tournament. So don't complain about missing the tournament, win your conference. College baseball, I love the regular season right now. One of the main reasons why I've gotten into the sport and the postseason. So the way things generally work right now will kind of stay as is with this new system. For the first month of the year, you're playing non-conference opponents along with various tournaments. And then as we get to conference play, you play each of the 9 teams in a weekend series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And then you also have one midweek game where you're typically playing a non-conference opponent within driving distance. And that's how it is now. And the best part about college baseball now, not sure if anyone knows, but a lot of times the big boys will go play the low and mid majors. And obviously that's something I want to see in college basketball too. But you'll have USC go play Cal Poly, which just happened this past weekend. Or you'll have Auburn go play Mercer. You'll have LSU actually go play McNeese. So you'll have that, which is awesome, and that would continue. And then here with the NCAA tournament, still keep it a 64 team field. I'd have to change that here to 37 and 27. And then regionals, 4 team regionals with the top seed hopes, double elimination, best of 3 super regional, and then College World Series. So that's how the postseason would work. And this is the makeup of the overall conferences. So a lot of colors, a lot of teams. We couldn't get every single one to be perfect 10-team conferences. There's a couple that are 11, and there's a few that are 8. But overall, the goal here was to make 10-team conferences. So feel free to press pause, but otherwise, we'll kind of break this down by map so you can get a nice idea as to where these teams belonged and why, and why we may have made some moves overall. So I'm actually going to start in the West because there's fewer teams out west, so it's a little bit simpler to be able to make a conference setup. And I apologize here in Google Maps, they only let you do 10 layers at a time, so that's why I have 4 tabs to go back and forth. But the easiest conference to begin with is the Pac-10, and pretty much we go like how it was back in the day. Pre-adding Utah and Colorado, I think in the early 2000s. This is what it was for decades and decades and decades. And what I love about the Pac-10 is you got road trips that make sense. So And college basketball, do a Thursday, Saturday schedule. You have your road trip to Arizona, SoCal, Southern California, NoCal, Northern California, Oregon, and then Washington. So it just makes sense. And for the postseason basketball tournament, I would not every West Coast tournament can be in Las Vegas, so I would have this in LA at the Staples Center. And then for the postseason baseball tournament, yeah, I probably would have it. That one I probably would do Vegas at the ballpark there in Summerlin. So that's pretty simple. That's the Pac-10. Then let's go into the Mountain West. And the goal here was to make things a little bit more centralized and not have some Pacific Coast teams. They're going to be in a separate conference. But we do have a lot of natural rivals, and I think it makes a ton of sense that BYU, Utah, and Utah State are in the same conference. So we have 3 Utah schools, then we have the 4 schools along the Front Range here, and then we have New Mexico and local rivals New Mexico State, and then in El Paso, UTEP. So overall, a 10-team league. Again, a lot of rivalries here between Colorado and Colorado State, Wyoming, New Mexico State, so forth. So I love this league. Finally gets things centralized after the WAC and Mountain West days where it just never quite got there. Conference tournament, I would put that in Denver for basketball. Baseball, probably would host it, likely Salt Lake's new ballpark, but maybe keep it in Colorado to make things a little bit more centralized. So probably Colorado Springs not minor league, but former minor league ballpark, which hosts 10,000 seats. So that's Mountain West. And then the teams in the former Mountain West that are in the WAC, we will have that be more Pacific centric. So we have San Diego State, Fresno, San Jose State, and then we're going to add Sac State as well. That's a school that has a ton of ambitions to keep moving up the chain. And overall, again, it puts 4 schools in California, so I think it's a great fit. And all in cities as well, San Jose, Sacramento, Fresno, and San Diego. Keep the Nevada schools together. And then we have a northern road trip here with Boise and Gonzaga. And then finally, the Rainbow Warriors in Hawaii, one of my favorite schools and teams. Oh, and also Grand Canyon comes into the mix too. And Grand Canyon helps balance things out to make this a 10-team league as well. Conference basketball tournament, UNLV, keep it at the Thomas and Mack Center. Baseball, probably a minor league ballpark in California. Maybe Bakersfield's is a little small and outdated, so not sure. Actually, Stockton or Modesto would probably be your best bets there. All right, so that's the WAC. Going down the list, now let's go to the Big West. And the Big West, I love this league because it's Kyle Wellston once referred to it as the California Bus League, and it still remains intact. And the overall goal here is keeping within the University of California system along with the Cal State system. So all those schools are within that, and most here are around LA. So you have Riverside, Irvine, Long Beach, Northridge, and then UC San Diego. Going up the coast a little bit, we have Bakersfield, Santa Barbara, and Cal Poly. And then we do have one outlier with UC Davis. Again, you could put Sacramento State with them, but I just needed the numbers to balance out. So we have 10 teams in the WAC. So there is a little bit of an outlier here with UC Davis. And I would return the college basketball conference tournament to Anaheim, where it once was, at the Anaheim Convention Center. Or the Honda Center, but I think Anaheim is a good spot here for most of those schools. So that is the Big West. That takes us over to the Big Sky, another league I like, and Big Sky now is kind of Big Sky country, and we took the California school out of it, which again was Sacramento State. So we have the Montana schools here, Montana State, the Idaho schools. Then we have 4 Utah schools, so Weber, and then new additions, Utah Valley, Utah Tech, and Southern Utah, Northern Arizona, and then Idaho, Eastern Washington, and Portland State. This is an 11-team league. Again, the numbers just didn't balance out on where do you put that extra school. I think either Portland State's a little bit left out or Northern Arizona, but again, overall, I think you just get stuck with 11 schools. And Starch Madness remains in Boise. I think that's a great location for a conference tournament, and remains so here. And same thing with baseball tournament too. I would put that in Boise as well. And finally, to round out our West Coast leagues, we have the West Coast Conference. And the WCC is mostly made up of private schools, small private schools. They've been together a long time. I hate that UC San Diego is going to this league. It's a giant public school. Keep this with small religious private schools essentially. And you have your batch in Southern California, so Loyola Marymount, Pepperdine, San Diego, and then we'll add in Cal Baptist. Then you have your schools in Northern California, so San Francisco, St. Mary's, Santa Clara, and Pacific. And then finally, you do have your two your two Pacific Northwest schools with Portland and Seattle. I love the league. I think that setup is pretty good. And we'll keep the league conference basketball championship in Vegas. It's always been at Orleans Arena. And that's another place that we will return to overall. Baseball, I don't have a good idea. Minor league ballpark somewhere in California. All right, that takes care of the West. So now let's transition, head over to the Midwest. Before we get there, there's a kind of a Great Plains league that we do have. And this is the Summit League. And most of these league members are current ones. So you ride down Interstate 29 from the Dakotas all the way to Omaha. And we have the Dakota schools, we have the South Dakota schools, and then you have Omaha and Kansas City. And then balancing it out road trip wise is you take a road trip here for the Minnesota schools. So we bring up Minnesota State and the Mavericks come up to the Division 1 level. They have the facilities. I think it's the Verizon Wireless Arena or Center, if I remember right. Great basketball arena. And then St. Thomas, who just built a new basketball arena as well. So you have your two Minnesota schools, and then you have two Colorado schools, and that's Denver and Northern Colorado in Greeley. So overall, this league, I think your conference tournament is either at the Sanford Pentagon or it's in Rapid City. Probably Rapid City. I think that's a good destination area, along with somewhat travelable for most of the league footprint. And that's where I would hold the basketball tournament. And for the college baseball conference tournament, I probably would bring it to Sioux Falls or Sioux City, one of the minor league ballparks there. So that's the Summit League. Now we get to what was called the Big 12 and formerly the Big 8, but it has 10 members, so we're going to rename it. And we're going to call it the Metro Conference, which I know is not great, but there used to be a Metro Conference as well. I just didn't like that Big 8 or Big 12 when there's 10 teams. And this one probably stirs up a little controversy, but it's made mostly of those former schools. So you have Nebraska. You return the Sunflower Showdown with Kansas State and Kansas. Bedlam returns as well. And then Missouri and Iowa State. So overall, that's 7 schools. And the next 3 are kind of a couple nomads that have traveled all around for conferences for a long time. If you look at their history, I don't think they've been in the same league for more than 15 years. But Louisville and Cincinnati certainly bring a lot of power to college sports in this league. And then finally, the big one's Notre Dame. And you'll see why I didn't put them in the Big Ten. Obviously, they're not an ACC, school in terms of geography and rivalries. There's no rivalries with Notre Dame and these other schools, but geographically it makes sense. And again, I'll get into the Big Ten in a second, but that's where I thought the Irish might be the best bet on where they should go. Conference tournament for basketball, Kansas City, a long-time home, and the Summit, Sprint Center, T-Mobile Center, I think now. So Kansas City, perfect home, and then I'd also have it in a minor league ballpark in Kansas City as well. I think it's Independence that they have their Independent League Park. The name's escaping me right now. I think they play home to the Kansas City Monarchs. Now, let's go to the Big Ten, and the Big Ten returns to a historical 10 schools. And these are schools that have been together almost a century. So you take out Penn State, they're going to move to the Big East, and then all the newer schools that have come after that in recent years. And we're back to our original 10. Again, that's a perfect footprint overall. And, these schools need no introduction. I hate the aura of invincibility and we are awesome, but whatever. So the Big Ten returns to its glory days, and the conference tournament is in Indianapolis. The oldly named Conseco Fieldhouse. Sorry again, I don't know why I can't remember what it's called, but the home of the Pacers will be the conference tournament home. And then I'd also put the college baseball tournament in Indianapolis too, at Victory Field. All right, that's Big Ten. Now for another conference that is very natural in terms of who should be in there, and that is the MAAC. And if we look at the MAAC, we will have University of Buffalo out of here and Northern Illinois out of here. I don't even count UMass that just joined the league this year. And we're down to 10 teams. So mostly state schools, Akron, Kent State. Then we have Miami, Ball State, Ohio, Bowling Green, and Toledo, big rivalry. And then Eastern, Western, and Central Michigan. So MAAC, overall, again, most of these schools have always been with the MAAC, and there's not much change in this conference. Your college basketball tournament is in Cleveland here at Rocket Fieldhouse, and then also I'd put the college baseball tournament likely in the minor league or the independent league ballpark in Lorraine. All right, so that's the MAAC. Sticking with the Midwest, we return to the old name of the Great Midwest. And I like this league a lot. So basically, this is the Midwestern portion of the Big East and the Midwestern portion of the Atlantic 10 with a couple other schools in there. And it's great for basketball. I mean, you have a lot of great schools, Dayton and Xavier, so natural rivals come back. Butler belongs with these two. St. Louis is in there as well. Then we have Loyola, Marquette. Creighton's a little bit of an outlier, but again, this is a Midwestern school, so it belongs with this grouping. And then finally, we'll add two of the schools from the Missouri Valley that haven't been there that long, Murray State and Belmont, which are also two successful schools. So yeah, I think overall this league is quite strong and, overall a really good spot. Where to put the tournament? I would put it in Louisville. I think that's a good central location to a lot of these schools here. There is some travel involved elsewhere, but I would put it in Louisville at the KFC Yum Center. And then same thing with the conference tournament at Slugger Field. Sticking with the Midwest, let's go to the Valley. And there's no doubt that the conference tournament will be Arch Madness in St. Louis. And then same thing, I put it college baseball at a minor league park. I keep saying minor league, but a lot of these are independent college teams. Likely the one in Marion, I would have that tournament there. But back to the Valley. So Wichita State returns. Missouri State just left. They're back. And then mostly longtime Valley schools. So Northern Iowa, Drake. Bradley, Illinois State, Indiana State, Evansville, Southern Illinois, and then somewhat newer school, Valpo. You could argue that maybe it's UIC that should go here, but we'll keep Valpo right now. And I think, again, that's a good spot. So a lot of familiarity with these teams. The Valley's one of my favorite leagues overall. And, it's a nice road trip by car with these schools. Also, a little bit longer of a road trip is the Horizon League. And the Horizon League sticks with its current mantra of we're a city-based league. So almost all of these schools are based in a city. We have Cleveland, Detroit, Dayton, Northern Kentucky's like Highland Heights is like 10 minutes from Cincinnati. Indianapolis, Milwaukee, Green Bay, and then Youngstown. So they're all city-based in the Midwest here. Some Rust Belt stuff, but overall, again, I think this is a lot of like schools, a lot of state schools too. And I would put the conference tournament in Toledo at the Huntington Center. I think that's a good spot to make that concentric overall with everybody. Same with the college baseball tournament. I'd keep that at their AAA park. That's the Horizon League. And then what I think used to be known as the Horizon was the old Mid-Continent League, Mid-Continental League, so we'll call it the Mid-Con. And these are somewhat misfit schools. They haven't been placed well. It's not a 10-team league. It's only 8. This was to, again, keep all these schools within driving distance to each other. So it's only 8, and it's somewhat new Division One teams in Bellarmine, Southern Indiana, Lindenwood. And then we will add some Chicago schools here, Chicago State, UIC, Northern Illinois. You'll see Lipscomb in Nashville. And then we also have a new entry in Drury that has the facilities to be able to compete in the Division One level in Springfield. So that is your Mid-Con League tournament. Probably put it in Springfield. They have an arena there that's in the 4,000 to 6,000 capacity realm that would be good at hosting that. And then your college baseball tournament could either be Peoria or in Springfield at Robin Roberts Field as well. So that's another option. That takes care of the Midwest. Let's now head over to the Northeast. Let's start with let's start with the easiest, I was going to say, which is the Ivy. And obviously, I'm not going to touch that. The Ancient Eight remains the same. And I think your conference tournament has to be in Madison Square Garden. New York City is a huge alumni base for all these Ivy League schools. I think you'd get a really good crowd. I hate right now that it's rotated around at the host schools, and they're such small venues. That Ivy tournament, put it in the Garden, do it the week before the Big East Championship. Again, overall, it'd be a great spot. The other option's the Palestra, but I think the Garden alumni base, a little bit more central, would really be excellent. So that's the Ivy League. Another league I really wouldn't touch too much is the Patriot League. And the Patriot League continues with a lot of the schools that are there right now. And those schools that are current members are Lehigh and Lafayette and the Lehigh Valley. We have Bucknell. We have Colgate, Holy Cross, Army. Remember, this is for college sports that are not football. And then in Maryland, we have Navy, American, and Loyola. And then we are going to take away Boston University, and we're going to add Fordham. I think Fordham has, for a long time, just not really been a good fit in the Atlantic 10. I think they're a much better fit and will be able to compete more in the Patriot League. And it gives you a nice sound 10-team league. And where I would put the conference tournament, I would go into the Lehigh Valley. A little bit of home field advantage for these two schools. But I put it at the PPL Center. And then I'd host baseball at the Iron Pigs ballpark as well. So again, driving distance, not bad at all for a lot of these schools to come to the Lehigh Valley right off of Interstate 78. So that's a Patriot. All right, probably the one you're waiting for is the Big East. And the Big East not only returns to its roots, but we add Penn State as well, which is an Eastern school. So I know PSU fans will be screaming, all right, I can't believe we're not in Big Ten, we're big enough. Yeah, well, this is other college sports, and college basketball isn't quite there. And again, it's not just a compete level, it's driving distance and natural rivals. And you have a natural rivalry with Pitt. Penn State used to have a rivalry with West Virginia. And for those that were not born, or for those that were born after 1990, got news for you, Penn State fans. They were members of the Atlantic 10 all the way up into the early 90s. And before that, they were independent. So it's not like this long time thing where they've always been part of the Big Ten. For what it's worth, Rutgers was actually part of the Atlantic 10 as well. So all of these schools, again, you have your heyday of the 80s with Syracuse, BC, UConn, Providence, St. John's, Rutgers, Villanova, Georgetown, Pitt, and then you add in West Virginia, which was also a longtime member, and Penn State. So that does bring you to 11 schools because, again, if you look at a lot of Eastern schools, you're not going to send any of these to the A10. And travel-wise, it makes the most sense here in terms of keeping this a car-based league. So that is the Big East, and the Garden is going to be your home for the college basketball tournament. And then you'll have a minor league or independent league ballpark, probably in Somerset, for your college baseball conference tournament. All right, let's move over to the Atlantic 10. So in the A10, we get rid of all the Midwest schools, keep this Eastern based. There are 4 schools here in Philadelphia, so it's almost a big 5 feel. We have Temple, Drexel, St. Joseph's, and LaSalle. And then we still have GW and Duquesne. And then we will add a travel partner here in the University of Buffalo for St. Bonaventure. So it's not just out on its limb, hard to get to Olean. And then finally we have UMass and Rhode Island. So that is the A10, and we will have the college basketball tournament in Atlantic City, which Boardwalk Hall did host that for a little while. And then your college baseball tournament is at the Sandcastle in Atlantic City as well. All right, so some smaller leagues coming up here in the East. We have 4 of them. We'll start with the America East. I do enjoy this. I hate that logo. That makes it look like it's part of an interstate. State schools. So we have Maine, we have Vermont, we have New Hampshire, we have UMass Lowell, we have Albany, Binghamton, part of the SUNY system, and then we'll bring Stony Brook back into the league. And to give them a partner on Long Island, we'll add Hofstra also back in. And then finally, we have State School Delaware, and then also NJIT. So we get rid of the Maryland schools. Again, keep it state-based and pretty well-traveled. And for the conference tournament, I would put it in Hartford or Springfield, either one. Both have suitable arenas. And same deal with baseball, probably in Hartford. Duncan Park is where I would put that conference tournament. That's the America East. Let's move over to the MAAC. And this is probably going to get dated soon because they're going to change their names or change their name so it's not the same sounding as MAAC. I've disliked what the MAAC has done recently, where they've poached other schools and become bloated. They, poached Mount St. Mary's. They've also grabbed other schools from the NEC, which I really haven't liked. So I'd like to return this to a 10-team league. And you still have your Western New York trip, which anyone that's played in the MAAC knows all about that Western New York trip. It's pretty difficult, whether it's in college basketball or something else. You have Niagara and Canisius, and then a couple schools in each area. Hudson Valley is Siena and Marist. Connecticut is Sacred Heart and Fairfield. New York is Iona and Manhattan, and then Jersey is St. Peter's and Ryder. And this one, I would do the college basketball tournament in the Westchester County Center. That's where the G League team plays. 3,000 seat arena, that should be fine. And then I'd play the college baseball tournament probably in Rockland. I think they do that now, where the Rockland Boulders play, or now known as the New York Boulders. So that is the MAAC. And then we'll take a step down and look at the NEC. There certainly is considerations if, the NEC kind of belongs in Division I. It's a lot of high school like gyms, but these schools have been around for a while and I didn't want to get rid of them. So that kind of includes Fairleigh Dickinson, Wagner, CCSU, Mount St. Mary's comes back. St. Francis does not go down to Division II like they're planning on. They stay up at D1. And then we have Mercyhurst, in Erie, and then we have Stonehill here in eastern Massachusetts. So it is a 10-team league. Your conference LIU as well in Brooklyn. It is a 10-team league. I think you should do the conference championship probably in Trenton, middle ground, at the 8,000 seat arena there. And then same thing for college baseball. Do it at Arm & Hammer Park as well, 7,000 seats. So that's the NEC. And then we have a newly created league for a lot of, I don't want to say cast-offs, but I just couldn't find a place for them. So this is called the East Coast Conference, the ECC. And they're not cast-offs. I mean, these are different, good schools. So we have Quinnipiac here in Hamden. We have both Northeastern and BU. Then we have Merrimack, Bryant, Monmouth, and again, they're good facilities, good schools. They've competed as well at the college basketball level. And then we have a Western road trip here with 2 Western PA schools and Robert Morris, and we'll bring up IUP. And you probably know IUP because of Kurt Signetti and where he started in college football with Indiana. They have fantastic facilities there. They have a 4,000 seat arena. They certainly have been good at the Division II level, and I would expect them to be able to compete here. And this is an 8-team league as well. And where I would put the conference tournament, maybe Coastal Connecticut. I'd say like Bridgeport. I'd probably put the championships there. In college baseball, Bridgeport doesn't have their ballpark anymore, so I'm not sure where I might put that one, but I would put it in the arena there. Okay, getting there, getting close to the end. We got 3 more regions to go. Let's head down to the Mid-Atlantic, and the first one that comes to mind is the ACC, and the ACC will mostly be schools quite familiar. It is 11, and I couldn't find the one to take out, and I guess the one to take out would make the most sense would be Maryland. However, you could put them with the Big East, and then you have a 12-team league. But overall, again, I think you have 11 and 11, and you put Maryland back with their natural rivals in Virginia, and Duke, and Virginia Tech. I think that makes the most sense. But you have your Tobacco Road triangle schools here: NC State, Duke, and North Carolina. And then, again, tons of schools that are familiar with each other, and I still wanted the Florida aspect of the league as well. I guess, you can't really bus from Miami to Maryland, but you do have Miami and Florida State together. And your conference basketball championship has to be in Greensboro, no matter what Jim Boeheim says. It's really a traditional great place for the tournament where, a lot of focus will be on it. And then college baseball, you have that in Durham, Durham Bulls Athletic Park, like it is right now. That's the ACC. Let's take a look at kind of the next tier of schools in Conference USA. And, this is a Conference USA American Conference mishmash. And you'll see some old CAA schools in here. They all play football, so it can be a football league too. And we have ODU, East Carolina, Coastal, Charlotte, App State, Liberty, James Madison, Marshall, and then 2 schools that are always talked about together: Western Kentucky and Middle Tennessee State. For your college basketball tournament, here I would probably put it, I think I'd go to Asheville. I know that's a SoCon's territory, but Asheville is such a college basketball perfect place for a tournament. The arena's awesome, 4,000 seat, it's intimate. Great destination city. I'm wearing my 2025 SoCon basketball championships that I went to last year, and I love it. I think it's a great spot, so I would do it twice. And for what it's worth, same thing college baseball. Play it at McCormick Field for your college baseball tournament. So that is Conference USA, 10-team league. Another 10-team league will be the CAA, and these bring back a lot of old rivals. So we have VCU and Richmond together. And we will also bring back George Mason and William and Mary, who's still in the CAA right now. That makes up your Virginia segment, 4 schools. We have cluster, or your 2 in Maryland is UMBC, moving out of the America East, and Towson, right next to each other in Catonsville and Towson. And then you have 4 North Carolina schools. You have Wilmington, Campbell, Elon, and you bring up High Point. And High Point, probably has the most money out of a lot of these schools. Great facilities, great alumni base. So they've kind of have pretty much gone past the Big South. And speaking of the Big South, let's talk about them next. So High Point comes. College basketball tournament. Here I would keep it in North Carolina, or actually, you know what? I'm sorry, Richmond. Let's go with Richmond. The only problem is the Richmond Coliseum still sits there, but it's I don't know, decommissioned or just not safe. So when they get a new arena, or if they can fix it back up, I'd put that back in Richmond. Same deal with the college baseball tournament. New ballpark opening this March 2026 or April. So we will see, that is a pretty good host too. All right, let's go to the Big South. So for the Big South, High Point comes out, and then what is currently a 9-team league without High Point now becomes an 8-team league, and we're going to add the military schools. So we'll add VMI, and we'll add the Citadel. And they're currently in the SoCon, and they just have not been able to compete in the SoCon. So I think going to the Big South will allow them a chance to, try and win league titles and compete a little bit more. Otherwise, these schools, great pairings, nice fit. Longwood, Radford, Asheville, Gardner-Webb, Upstate, Presbyterian, Winthrop, and Charleston Southern. And then your conference tournaments in Charlotte, bring it back to the Bojangles Coliseum, 10,000 seat arena, centralized. You have a city there as well. And also put it in, I don't think I'd put it in Charlotte's minor league ballpark, but I would do it in Gastonia or Kannapolis. I think either two would be fine for a college baseball tournament. That is your Big South. Let's go to the HBCUs. So let's go to, let's do the MEAC. And with the MEAC, right now it is 8 teams. We're going to bring it back up to 10, but not take the 2 schools that left the MEAC for the SWAC. So I think those are the Florida schools. So instead, we'll bring Hampton back in, which makes sense because you have Norfolk State right there. And then we're also going to add South Carolina State South Carolina State is currently of the MEAC. Who am I missing here? North Carolina A&T left. So they come back into the MEAC as well. So you have these 2 schools close together. You do have an outlier with South Carolina State. And then you have your schools in the Mid-Atlantic, which is Coppin State, Morgan, Howard, Maryland Eastern Shore, and Delaware State. And the conference tournament's been at the Norfolk scope for a long time. Bring it back there and do the same thing with the college baseball tournament. Keep it at the Tides ballpark. Let's go down to the SWAC. And coming out of the SWAC, which is currently a 12-team league, is we will take the Florida schools out. And you'll see where they go in a second. What you have remaining is 10 schools that have been together a very, very long time. And your conference tournament for college baseball or basketball will be in Jackson. And same thing for baseball. I'd do it in Jackson as well. So these 10 schools, again, longtime members, we just take out Bethune and we take out Florida A&M as well. That's the SWAC. Now that we are in the Southeast, let's talk Southeast. And let's talk Southeast Conference, Southeastern Conference. Actually, I don't know if it's SEC is Southeastern Conference or Southeast. But let's do the SEC. And overall with this SEC, the biggest question I had was what to do with Kentucky and do you make them part of the Metro? And overall, given how long they've been in the SEC, I think 100 years, it was decided to keep them there. So where we took had schools out, I've considered making them a 10-team league, but I just didn't know who that was. Arkansas is the newest member in the early 90s, looking at this map, and South Carolina is not a school that goes all the way back, into the early 1900s. So those were the 2 schools I'd consider not having in this league, but you saw the ACC at 11. You'll see some Texas schools coming where we have enough that not to include Arkansas. So overall, I think you keep the 12-team league, and I don't think I need to say anything more about SEC. And these schools and the rivalries. But most of this is drivable too, which is great. Your tournament is in Atlanta for college basketball. I think you got to have it there, or actually in Birmingham. Birmingham would be a good spot too. Yeah, second guessing it. I would put it back in Birmingham. And I'd have Hoover, of course, as your college baseball site for your conference tournament. But I would put this at the BJCC for basketball. All right, that's the SEC. Let's talk. I talked about the SoCon a little bit, so let's go through them. I love where they're at right now. I wasn't happy to see this 10-team league as it exists add Tennessee State next year. This was one of the few leagues that had the true round robin and was a true bus league. And now the addition of Tennessee State makes it 11, which kind of drives me nuts a little bit. But overall, this is who currently is in the league. But remember, I took out the Citadel and I took out VMI. So replacing those 2 schools, we bring back College of Charleston, which did play in the league before. And then we also bring back Davidson, which played in the SoCon previously. And you'll see how much of a natural fit they are. Geographically and, again, just natural rivals, it makes sense. College basketball tournament back in Asheville, same thing with baseball. The American. So we will kind of talk about schools that broke off from both the American and Old Conference USA. You have a Florida cluster, and UCF belongs here. I know they may be mad and, we're Big 12, we're Power 4, blah, 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 blah. these schools are, again, competitors too, and they have great programs as well. Just don't forget what FAU did 4 years ago. USF was great last year's too. UAB has had runs. Memphis, of course. So, they belong together in the Southeast, in this area. And great rivals, UCF and USF, FAU, FIU, Memphis, UAB. Louisiana Tech and Tulane aren't really rivals, but they are in the same state. And then you have Georgia State and Georgia Southern. So that's your new American look. And then let's go over to conference tournament play. I would put the tournament somewhere in the Gulf Coast, make it a destination, probably in the Pensacola, where it is now, I think the Pensacola Bay Center, and I do it at their ballpark too for college baseball. The Sun Belt, similar boat. With the Sun Belt, I would do their tournament at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum in just outside of Biloxi for college basketball, and then college baseball, I do it at Shuckers, their ballpark there at Shuckers, the Biloxi Shuckers. A lot of these schools are part of the Sun Belt, but we're going to do a couple per state. So we have Louisiana and ULM, the two Arkansas schools, Little Rock and Jonesboro's Arkansas State, Troy, South Alabama, and then we do have Tarleton and Rice, so kind of new to the Sun Belt, and then also Tulsa. So a little bit funky than what the Sun Belt is used to. Again, it's not as bloated as what we saw in the past, but overall, we do have more of a concentric conference. A couple more to go in this area. Let's talk about the Atlantic Sun. I don't like the A-Sun. They've been poaching in recent years a lot of other conference teams. They've poached a lot of the OVC, so not a fan. But we will make this a Florida and Georgia-Alabama league. And this is where Bethune and Florida A&M go. So you now have 6 schools in the Sunshine State. You have FGCU, Florida Gulf Coast, Stetson and DeLand, Bethune, North Florida and Jacksonville, Florida A&M. And then you have Kennesaw, West Georgia, Jacksonville, and North Alabama. Conference tournament, I put it in Columbus. They have a ballpark there for college baseball. Golden Park was recently redone. And then I would also put it in the Civic Center. I think it's like 8,000 seats. That's where I would have that college basketball tournament. OVC it, as they say. All right, so a lot of these schools are familiar with each other. This is a historic league in the Ohio Valley. If you go back and see some of the schools that are coming back into this league that I put there, they date back decades and decades and decades. And that includes Austin P in Clarksville. We're going to bring them back. We will also bring back Eastern Kentucky. And then you have Moorhead. A lot of Tennessee schools in UT Martin, Tennessee State, Tennessee Tech, SIUE, SEMO, Eastern Illinois, and Western Illinois. So they currently have their college basketball conference tournament in Evansville. Great spot. You can see, I don't think it's more than it's a 2 to 4 hour drive for all these schools. And the Ford Center is a great host. And I'd also put the baseball tournament there too. 3 more conferences to go. I've talked a lot. I'm impressed if anyone's stuck with it, but I know there are some out there that are interested in this type of stuff. These are Texas leagues, and remember back in the day there was the old Southwest Conference, the SWC. Well, because I've now moved it to all be Lone Star conferences, I've created the TAC, which is the Texas Athletic Conference. It doesn't sound good. We could go with Lone Star Conference, but I think that already exists at the D2 or D3 level, if I'm not mistaken. So feel free to rename it, but these are big Texas programs, and you can't, if you're a Longhorn fan, you can't be like, oh, we don't belong. I mean, Texas, Baylor won a national championship in basketball. Houston has come very close in recent years to winning a national championship. Texas A&M, big-time program. SMU, big-time program. Texas Tech, ton of money in big-time program. So, Texas has no right to look down on everybody else in this league. So many great rivalries, all within driving distance. I absolutely love it. You got your schools around the Metroplex, TCU, SMU, North Texas, which is a huge school. Yes, they again may seem a notch below, but they'll get there, and I certainly think they can compete. Obviously, you have Texas Tech and Lubbock, A&M, Houston, and then you add UTSA, which had a fantastic run last year for college baseball, and then Texas State as well. So big time programs, and I do really like this league. Let's also stick with mostly the Lone Star State here and talk Southland. And a lot of these schools in the Southland didn't move. And I like the Southland. Oh, I'm sorry. Back to where you put the conference tournament. I think you got to put it in Dallas. I think I would have it at the American Airlines Center there in Dallas. Your other option, San Antonio, but Dallas, just being a bigger city, I think you got to put it there. And Houston's bigger than Dallas, but it's more centralized to everything else. All right, Southland, not much change from this league, which I do like a lot in its current form. I did take some schools out to make it a 10-team league, and I'll show you that in a second. But you have UTRGV. They support their vaqueros so well there, especially in college baseball. Corpus Christi. And then you head out to the Piney Woods here in Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin, Lamar, McNeese, Nichols, New Orleans, Southeast Louisiana, and Hammond, USA, and Northwestern State. Their tournament, bring it back to Katy. I hate how McNeese hosts this and their on-campus arena. Katy hosted this tournament for a long time, 4,000-seat arena in a high school, but it's a great, great facility. So I would put your tournament there. And for baseball, I'd put it in Sugar Land, Constellation Field. Finally, last of the 37 conferences is the Great South. And the Great South, like the other few leagues that we had where I kind of mashed together some, I don't say misfits, but I took Commerce out of the league at East Texas A&M from the Southland. Unfortunately, I took out Houston Christian and UIW, very small schools in terms of, gyms and things like that. Abilene is bigger, but again, they're a little out of place geographically. We add in UT Arlington. I forget where they are now. I think the WAC. And then we have Central Arkansas, Oral Roberts, and then a new addition in Central Oklahoma. So it's only an 18 league, but Central Oklahoma and Enid has the facilities to be able to compete. And I would put the tournament probably at Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, good centralized spot, and then also one of the minor league or independent league ballparks. Whew. That is it. So 37 conferences, all pretty much geographically based. Most of them 10-team schools. And now you're talking about natural rivals and putting teams where they were in the past to make it make sense on where they should travel. And you're not flying everywhere. And fans and parents and families and friends can make that road trip and make it a lot more fun. So that is your college sports realignment. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown, and take care.